sea monster attacks it. This was the age when the deadliest predator the world has ever seen ruled. Suddenly, boom, the legendary Tyrannosaurus Rex enters the scene. Rex lets out a monstrous roar, showing off its gigantic jaws and teeth. The T-Rex, truly the undisputed king of all dinosaurs. This beast has a tail like a wrecking ball and legs built for charging. On top of its vanquished prey, the T-Rex roars in total victory. But even the mighty T-Rex can't escape the challenges of Mother Nature. Some dinosaurs fell to sickness, accidents, or just plain bad luck. And then there were the ones who drew the shortest straw from Mother Nature. A pterosaur spots the T-Rex carcass and circles down for a closer look. The pterosaur can't believe its luck, feasting time on this remote island. Nobody resists a free meal in nature. That's just how the wild works. The pterosaur lands, pumped and ready to dig in. The T-Rex looks super dead, but the pterosaur investigates just to be sure. It doesn't smell rotten. This T-Rex must have died just recently. The pterosaur concludes the T-Rex starved, which is rare for such a beast. Suddenly, the pterosaur screams as the T-Rex stirs with a vicious surprise attack. The T-Rex's jaws snap around the pterosaur, thrashing it like a ragdoll. The T-Rex refuses to let go, shaking the pterosaur while it flails and screams. The T-Rex, hungry for days, finally scores a real meal after a long wait. The T-Rex brags about surviving 3.5 days without food. The T-Rex invites Wilson to join her meal, acting like sharing is optional. Our story officially kicks off. Get ready for some wild, prehistoric action. Note, this adventure takes place on a small, lonely island out at sea. Here's where a hungry, not-so-lucky Tyrannosaurus Rex tries to survive. This is a story about a path never chosen. So, what happens next? The bird's song wakes her up. Another tough morning begins for our Dino hero. This isn't a casual stroll. He's searching desperately for anything to eat. The T-Rex complains he's the only hungry creature left on this island. But life on the island wasn't always this miserable. Years ago, right after T-Rex washed up, everything was different. He suddenly spots strange creatures crawling on the shore and wonders what they are. Giant, tiny, all kinds of turtles fill every inch of the shore. The turtles are everywhere, stomping and crawling, almost crowding out the T-Rex. T-Rex gulps. He knows what he's about to do next. And just like that, turtle feast. T-Rex crunches away, happier than ever. Life felt perfect for the T-Rex, isolated on his own private island. He believed every dark night ended in a bright morning, even for dinosaurs. The T-Rex thought mornings would always bring hope, even in tough times. Suddenly, his dreams crumbled as hunger and pain crashed over him. Years rolled by, and all the turtles went extinct. The food source vanished. The only options? Starve on this island, or eventually wither away. He trudges to the lonely shoreline, foot splashing, hope fading fast. Morning brings only hungry birds. There's nothing for breakfast but disappointment. He jokes about rambling, but if nothing's on shore, it's time for plan B. This plan's why I haven't starved yet, just waiting for food to show up. That's enough food and water for today, says the T-Rex. I lie in the shade, gazing out at the endless ocean, always hoping. Come on, say something. The loneliness really gets to me sometimes. What if another T-Rex showed up here just like me? Imagine the chaos. I've spent every single day for 20 years stuck here. The aging T-Rex quietly watches, lost in routine and memories. Zeke wants to be strong and powerful, admiring his mother. Giant skeleton looms over Zeke, reminding him he can't, never. Relieved, the T-Rex finds Wilson, his skull friend, still here. He tries to get Wilson to talk, desperate not to feel alone. Walking away, the T-Rex confronts the truth: Wilson's been dead a long time. A storm looms overhead. The T-Rex braces himself for the chaos. The T-Rex feels shame, and believes he's wasting away without achieving anything. Wilson's skull tells the T-Rex harshly, look at your life. This is how it ends. The T-Rex begs Wilson to stop, but the skull refuses, pushing him to face reality. It mocks Zeke's dreams, saying he failed to become a mighty T-Rex. Even escaping or finding company wouldn't matter. Nothing can change his fate. The skull pitifully claims Zeke's hope is nothing but poison that will eat away at him. Alone and defeated, Zeke just stares at the tide, lost in thought. He slowly walks to the water, footsteps trailing behind, facing the sea. A heartbreaking question. What if Zeke just disappears, right here, right now? Maybe it'll hurt for a few minutes, Zeke thinks, as the idea grows more real. His bones drifting to the ocean floor, vanished forever. No one will remember Zeke. Suddenly, a gigantic sea reptile bursts from the water with a splash. Zeke admits, geez, that scared the daylights out of me. He's alert now. I'm one pathetic T-Rex, Zeke laments, soaked by rain, unable to end his misery. There's no hope. My days are numbered. Loneliness is my only companion. He confesses his fear of death, staring at Wilson's skull in the rain. Zeke asks, how did my life end up like this, as thunder rolls? Birds chirp brightly as a new morning breaks through the tree canopy. Zeke looks determined, while a mysterious, younger dinosaur appears nearby. The narrator says, it's a story about the road not taken. Zeke's confused. 20 years pass, and Zeke thinks hell never make it home, ready to die alone. Small, lively Dino appears, squeaks off, and immediately grabs Zeke's attention. The young Dino tilts its head, asks, where am I? And who are you? Zeke is shocked, pausing mid-step. Who is this kid, and why is he so bold? Zeke's mind races. Did a storm bring just this calm kid here, with no family? Nova keeps repeating, where am I, and where are we, huh? Relentless beach interrogation. Before explaining the island, Zeke flips the script. What's the kid's name? The little dino bounces up and shouts, it's Nova. Just call me Nova. Nova looks cheerful and ready to share his story. Zeke introduces himself, admitting he thought he'd die alone. Nova is wowed by the pterosaurs swirling overhead. Zeke asks Nova if he's scared. Nova's just confused and super chill. Zeke challenges him, what if I'm a dangerous dinosaur? Zeke decides it's time for the next big question. Where's Nova's family? Nova bravely shares that he found a new family once again. Nova reveals tragedy. His family was swept away by powerful water currents. Nova woke up alone on this island, confused and unsure. Nova looks up and reminds Zeke, you were there when I woke up. Zeke thinks the storm brought Nova here, but why does Nova sound so mature? Zeke tells Nova to look, focusing his attention as they arrive somewhere important. Zeke reveals they've walked in a circle, ending up right where they started. Zeke asks if Nova knows what an island is, but Nova has never heard of one. Zeke calls it a small, boring, absolutely forsaken island, pretty much the worst vacation spot ever. He points out that this tiny patch is where they're both stuck, right now. Nova gulps nervously, finally realizing they're trapped with no way out. Zeke explains they're the only dinosaurs alive here, others wash up dead sometimes. As if things couldn't get worse, violent storms constantly hammer the island day and night. Nova stares, freaked out. Zeke declares the place is straight up cursed. Zeke says he's been rotting away for 2 decades, never leaving the island once. Massive waves make escape impossible. There's literally no way to get off this rock. Nova hears a splash, glances at the sea, and wonders if there might still be hope. Zeke wonders if his answered prayer is a blessing or something far worse. Nova silently stares at the endless ocean, reevaluating everything he's just learned. Zeke quietly apologizes in his head for being awkward with Nova. Shocked, Zeke reacts to Nova's question. He never expected that response. Nova asks if this small island really is all there is, surprised by its emptiness. Zeke confirms, admitting with sadness that yes, this is all they've got. Nova shouts his excitement. Being alone here is amazing to him. Zeke is completely baffled by Nova's wild reaction to total isolation. Zeke explodes, shouting there's no food, no family, nothing but them. Nova claps back, glad the villains are gone. Zeke tries to explain, this isn't about safety, it's about being trapped. Zeke can't believe Nova is certain. Does he know a way out? Nova tells Zeke not to give up just because there's no immediate answer. Zeke sighs, considering Nova's message. Hope, huh? Nova asks, what's the point of despair? Zeke realizes he hadn't heard hope in years, quietly acknowledging their new island mate is truly strange. Nova says he gets it, making Zeke chuckle with disbelief. Zeke asks Nova if he's ready to learn. Nova dashes after Zeke, who's baffled but admits he now has a weird new friend. Night falls. Zeke and Nova sleep together for the first time as true island mates. Zeke and Nova travel under stormy skies, pushing through together. Zeke is ready for anything, jaws wide, his fierce determination awakened. Shadows lengthen as new threats emerge. Zeke and Nova brace themselves for whatever the island throws at them next. Meet Quetzalcoatlus, giant of the skies, standing 16 feet tall, 33-foot wingspan. Quetzalcoatlus was the ultimate threat to every T-Rex kid. Nova checks out the island and instantly complains, it's so small. The old Rex says calling him Skull just felt rude during chats. Nova is a little freaked out by Wilson, wondering about these conversations. The old Rex jokes with Nova, but Nova's not amused by the humor. That's a seabird, that's a pterodactyl, don't mix them up, Nova. Zeke points out a palm tree and a cycad. Nova looks unimpressed. Nova tells Zeke to teach him something new and insists he's not a baby. Zeke wraps up the tour. He's thrilled to finally have someone to talk to. Zeke catches a squawking seabird with his jaws. Dinner time. Nova spots a crab, gets excited, and thinks it's crunchy snack time. Nova asks Zeke what a full-grown T-Rex like him normally eats. Nova asks if Zeke has a special hunting tactic. Zeke ponders how to answer. Zeke gets ready to share a survival technique that might save Nova. Zeke tells Nova to pay attention as he demonstrates playing dead. Zeke explains you fake being dead, wait, and ambush unsuspecting pterodactyls. Zeke grumbles they didn't catch anything today and curses his bad luck. Zeke laughs at Nova's optimism, but the Wilson skull calls it foolish. Zeke tries to shut down the thoughts, but the skull says it is his inner darkness. The skull gives a final warning. When it disappears, Zeke's end is near, then wishes him a sad goodnight. And that was Zeke and Nova's first night together on the island. Zeke and Nova sprint over, shocked to see a real Triceratops feast. After a hungry night, it feels like a huge reward from nature. Zeke inspects the meal. It's not too rotten, safe for Nova to eat. Wait, did the Triceratops end up here like Nova did? Storm trouble. Zeke pauses. Nova's just a kid but acts way older than he should. For the first time in years, Zeke enjoys a massive, all-day meal. Nova nudges sleeping Zeke, surprised he's asleep before it's even night. On the beach, Nova thinks it's unusually quiet and feels a little alone. Nova wonders how Zeke survived for 20 years on this lonely island. Nova misses his dad and dreams of seeing him again someday. Nova fears he may never see his dad again if it takes forever. Suddenly, a giant pterosaur swoops down over Nova, casting a huge shadow. The pterosaur's screech wakes Zeke, who blinks in shock. Zeke snaps awake, immediately calling out, "Nova," and looks around. Zeke panics, realizing Nova is missing and thinks he might be too late. Zeke yells out for Nova, desperately searching the island and thundering across the earth, calling for Nova to answer back. In the distance, Zeke hears Nova's cry for help and rushes faster, hope and fear warring within him. Nova is seen struggling, caught and flailing in the grasp of danger, with Zeke growing increasingly frantic to reach him. Zeke's inner thoughts warn that after good luck, more misfortune almost always comes. He questions himself in regret. The giant Quetzalcoatlus gulps, eyes focused and ready for confrontation as it senses Zeke's powerful presence approaching fast. Zeke unleashes a thunderous roar, shaking the entire shoreline with fury and locking eyes with the giant pterosaur. The giant pterosaur bolts into the sky, desperately trying to escape the rampaging, roaring T-Rex at its heels. Zeke panics, realizing his chance is slipping away as the mighty pterosaur takes flight, Nova still in peril. Zeke bellows Nova's name and explodes in another deafening roar, rage giving him new strength for the battle. The T-Rex crashes to the ground with the wounded pterosaur gripped in his jaws, victory and relief tangled together. The battered Quetzalcoatlus trembles, letting out weak, fearful caws as it desperately tries to wriggle free from Zeke's hold. Zeke, exhausted, pins the Quetzalcoatlus and can barely recall what came after, adrenaline fading with the end of battle. The chaos quiets, Zeke's breath ragged, Nova's fate uncertain, and the battered pterosaur silent beneath the tyrant dinosaur's claws. Silence returns to the island, broken only by the whisper of wind and Zeke's thunderous, victorious heartbeat. The final caw is silenced with a devastating crunch. Zeke wins, fading out on the aftermath of the epic struggle. Nova gives Zeke a moment to consider his dreams. Zeke excitedly says they should go to the ends of the earth. Zeke warns that losing hope is as bad as everything ending. Zeke panics, calling out desperately for Nova to respond. Nova stares at the dead pterosaur, unsure what just happened. Zeke explains he caught the pterosaur because it hesitated, just for a split second. Zeke thinks the pterosaur came for the triceratops carcass on the beach. The smell from the rotting triceratops is attracting dangerous creatures to the island. Zeke sighs. He wanted to savor the triceratops, but knows it needs to go. Nova says he wants to be just like Zeke when he grows up. Zeke wonders why Nova is still so upbeat and if youth keeps him fearless. Nova frowns as Zeke says he shouldn't want to be like him. Zeke reminds Nova he can't stay like him and needs to escape the island. Zeke reveals his plan, find clues to get both of them back to the mainland. Nova is confused. Why would anyone care about his own memory in the first place? What could it possibly change? Zeke asks Nova to describe exactly what destroyed his homeland. Maybe the smallest detail could hold a clue. Nova realizes he needs to remember the total destruction that forced him here, shattered his life, and changed everything. Nova's arrival was dramatic. He wasn't the first, but maybe he could be the last if he remembers enough. If Nova can remember, it might help them finally escape the island and avoid what happened to everyone else. Nova suggests starting with his earliest memory. Zeke agrees, saying anything that works is worth trying right now. Nova remembers back to his nest, literally his first memory ever. Nothing before that, just a faint sense of warmth. Zeke freaks out. Nova really remembers being born? Is that even possible? Nobody else's memory goes that far back. Nova resumes hatching was wild, chaotic even, but honestly, the days that followed didn't seem special at all. The quiet after hatching lingered, filled with ordinary routines, until the storm hinted at something much, much bigger ahead. The dinosaur siblings run and scream, obviously having way too much fun. I like to play with my mom and my brothers, snuggling up with siblings and mom, safe and warm for the night. And we slept together. It was a peaceful, harmonious life. The family walks the land. Everything seemed perfect, but then, my mom died. Just like that, childhood ends for this Dino. The story pauses as another Dino, shocked, asks for more context. Mom is ambushed and attacked. Tragedy strikes out of nowhere. The sibling calls out, "Mom," but she's too hurt to answer. A baby Dino gets snatched by a massive seagull, squawking for help. Pterosaurs gobble up the siblings, one by one. It's dinosaur snack time. I was left all by myself. The lone survivor's struggle begins. With no hope, this Dino wanders endlessly, lost and alone. Suddenly, face to face with a huge T-Rex. Talk about a jump scare. And that's when I met my dad. "Who are you?" Zeke looks away in silence, his face full of emotion. Nova just stares, watching Zeke as he stands there grieving. Zeke asks Nova his name, and Nova happily reminds him. Zeke reveals to Nova that he is his father and offers him a place. Zeke is seen triumphing in battle, taking down a giant horned dinosaur. Zeke defeats an armored dinosaur, showing off his unbeatable strength. Nova is proud of Zeke, who is unstoppable, even when outnumbered. Nova watches in awe from the bushes, totally amazed by Zeke's power. Zeke lets out another epic roar, his confidence booming across the land. Nova reflects, "Dad taught me things Mom never could." Hunting lessons were simple. Zeke explained what to eat and what to avoid. But sometimes, Dad would drop wisdom that Nova just didn't get. Zeke asks Nova, "What's the most important thing in life?" Nova admits, "I don't know. I'm not sure yet." Zeke laughs at his honesty. Zeke smiles and adds, "But also healing, comfort, and real joy." Little Nova tries to understand Zeke's wisdom but feels too young. But even then, Nova could feel happiness in those moments. Zeke jokes about talking too much because the walk is so long. Nova is curious, realizing they've gone farther than ever before. Zeke says there's something special he wants to show Nova. They finally stop. Zeke announces, right here. Nova looks up, eyes wide, ready for the big reveal. Nova is blown away. He's never witnessed such beauty before. The moment is peaceful, but nature always moves on. Nova admits time with his dad was short. A storm changed everything. Floodwaters rise rapidly, swamping the land as Zeke rushes through. Nova is struggling, looking up at the storm, worried. Nova can't believe how fast the river has flooded around them. Nova sees his dad, Zeke, panic for the first time ever. Nova admits they're in big trouble now. Zeke and Nova make their move, heading for the tiny, log-covered hill. Zeke puts Nova on the highest point, fighting slippery, wet logs. Nova stands on the logs, calling for his dad, searching in the rain. Zeke pauses in the floodwater, silent, the chaos all around him. Zeke asks Nova if he remembers everything he taught him for survival. Zeke comforts Nova, telling him it's okay and not to worry. Zeke explains this is just the circle of life, trying to be strong. Zeke promises Nova it's only a temporary goodbye, they'll meet again someday. Nova is told not to lose hope or give in to darkness and fear. Zeke promises he'll come find Nova too, no matter what happens. Nova, alone by the shore, quietly processes the loss and begins to move forward. Nova finishes his story and eagerly asks for feedback from Zeke. Under the starry sky, Nova gazes up to the moon, looking for comfort. Nova questions, hope, eager to understand what his dad means. Nova repeats, because, wanting to learn why hope matters so much. Wilson's skull silently watches as the lesson about hope sinks in. Nova, finally at peace, falls into a deep sleep, dreaming of hope.